Hello, it's me.
Hey guys, this is Aditya and welcome back to another episode of the Funny Podcast. Today I'm again trying to keep it as bizarre and as real as it has always been so that you guys should think ye kya chutiya zindagi jee raha hai. So talking about chutiya zindagi, life hasn't been easy. It's been really tough. As I said on the last episode, I'm not keeping up with my health properly, whether it's physical or mental, and I'm pretty open about it. So don't feel like I'm trying to gain sympathy points. I always talk about it. So again, I want to thank everyone who has been listening to the episodes and getting a constant reach every single time is a huge deal. And the reason why I know this is because I am being mentored by some of the best podcasters in the country, all because of the India Film Project's podcast lab in support of Anchor by Spotify. So just doing my bit in thanking them as well as you guys to listen to me rant about my life every single week. Although the last couple of weeks have been very infrequent, I am trying, but let's just focus on the present. Today's story is again a real life incident that I have witnessed, I have experienced, and I wanted to continue from where I left last time because it just felt like there was a story inside that story, and I had said that I'm going to talk about it later, so why not now? So stupid things happen when you genuinely are stupid. This quote is from an anonymous person. You know how people always say, like, there are so many quotes that you read and under that you see anonymous. The reason is they say it themselves and don't want to be judged. And when you don't want to be judged, you just go for anonymous and say that kisi mahan vyakti ne kabhi kaha tha. So that's what happens here, and this is what this quote was also about. This is something that I am saying. You need to be medically stupid to actually go through such a situation. It's pretty stupid that I used to do this, and I was completely under peer pressure, even though my peers never pressured me. It's like, okay, so back then it was called peer pressure. Then as years progressed, we made developments in the field of science and literature. We came up with a better term. We call it FOMO. And FOMO is something that is basically, as they say, fear of missing out. And I did not want it to be missed out on. I mean, I knew nobody would miss me, but I would miss what happened. So that led me into one of the biggest fads of the country, which is coachings and tuitions. Yup. Coachings and tuitions are the biggest fad, and we know it. They'll say your child is special to get into a college to get your 1 lakh rupees check, but maybe your child is special in a different way. It's not always going to be an engineer or a doctor. Now that they even have CLAT coachings and CA coachings and probably NIFT coachings. Oh damn. This is the pandemic we should be talking about. So yeah, I mean, we go to coaching classes, and I did 2 years, a lot of checks written by my dad that I haven't been able to pay back, and yet I'm trying to make a career several years later as a podcaster. So when we talk about coaching classes, we go there telling our parents that we're going to learn, but we also know deep down that only 2% in any city's population is actually learning. Rest 98 learn partially. Of those 98%, around 50 plus just go there for fun. And it does happen. I mean, a lot of people have fun in very different ways. And I have had my share of stupid fun in quite a few ways. You go there, you pass chits along, because obviously you can't speak when a person is sitting or standing in front of you on a platform, and they're at a higher altitude. So in such situations, what you can do is you can slyly pass out chits. That is where your parents' hard-earned money bought notebooks are going. You keep tearing up pages and you send chits. Or you do flames. I won't get into the details of flames because anyone who's listening to this obviously knows what it is, thanks to TVF. So flames is again a thing that we do, or some people sketch. I know a few who are actually now artists. They actually take commissioned work for sketching, drawing, painting, designing. And the reason why they do this is because they figured out in an IIT coaching or a medical coaching class that I'm gonna be an artist by drawing at the back of their copies. Those notebooks today should be worth $1 million, because yes, I have seen those artworks. They are good. And there's coaching for everything. So I used to go for a biology coaching separately. I used to go for a physics coaching separately. And then there was a chemistry coaching, which I have changed quite a number of times. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I've had 3 different. You never put all your eggs in one basket. I've seen that happening. It does not give you any result, let alone good. So these coaching classes were a hub for everything. They created a few doctors and engineers, and they created a lot of public speakers, artists, singers, sportsperson, I don't know, gamers, YouTubers. I know a lot of people who went to the same coaching class as mine, and today they are doing something way different from what they were trying to pursue that back then at the age of 16, 17, 18. And one such incident that happened with me, I mean, this was a continuous process. Everyone, and I'm pretty sure, because now after a certain number of years I know how people act in classes. Students tend to act that they are very smart, they're very sly, thinking that the teacher won't figure it out. The teacher knows it all. They just keep quiet because their account has already been credited. If anyone who's under the age of 18 and goes to these coaching classes thinking that they can fool the teacher, you don't. I mean, everyone knows that you're not gonna laugh at your own crotch. You are using your cell phone. You don't strategically sit at one place. I used to think the same. And I say this with no doubt that my teacher knew it. Everyone knew it. I mean, everyone knew every single thing about it, because it was very obvious that every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I entered that coaching class, and all I did was to make sure that I get into the same seat. And it's stupid because it was too obvious, and I thought I was being so clever. I was being so smart. I was like Arsene Lupin. But I wasn't, because every day I strategically plan. I ask people to not enter, because the thing was with one of my coaching classes, the rows in which we used to sit, is it a row or a column? Row. So the rows in which we used to sit, they were like long rows, and you enter one by one. So anyone who enters a particular row in the beginning, because the end side is a wall, you can't exit unless everyone else in that row leaves that row. And just like that, all the boys were given the rows at the back, and the girls were given the rows at the front. And because it was like a class filled with biology students, there were a lot of girls. So the boys row started only after the 4th row. That is also on a day when people did not show up for the class. Otherwise, we go back to the 5th row out of the 7 rows. So in those 2 rows that we need to sit, I strategize that I enter first and sit at the first point of the first bench. And why I think it was very stupid is because I made my girlfriend of that from that time change seats. She is now a doctor, doing very well. So obviously she was a front bencher. She's been all the time. I mean, she in school also she was a front bencher. In coaching also, her motive was to reach early so that she can grab the first bench. And for them it was a competition. For us it wasn't. So from the first bench she came back to the 5th row, the last row of the girls, and she used to sit in the same corner at the first point because right behind her was me. And if you think that's stupid, I have not even started. This is just the tip of the iceberg that I was that stupid to think no one would notice. The day I am pretty sure the day she switched seat from the first bench to the last bench, my teacher knew that something is going on between these two. And since I'm gonna share the same podcast on Instagram and she follows me on Instagram, I'm pretty sure she's one of the listeners. And the only thing I have to do is just give a subtle hint about her coaching class in the title of the episode, and she's gonna hear it, and I'm pretty sure she's gonna say, yeah, I knew it. Because I mean, now, earlier she was like, she's a very strict teacher, but she's a really great teacher. So now that we've gone way ahead in time, these are the years after this, we are in a very good place where there's a great rapport. She texts me sometimes, I text her sometimes, just, because you realize what you are missing once you've gone ahead. So yeah, she definitely figured it out the first day when my girlfriend moved back and sat in the corner and she was short. So I mean, there was a possibility of not being able to see. So constantly every day she sat at the back and I used to sit at the same place, and all the boys in the coaching knew that you can't enter before me. Even if I'm late, people would not enter because I had not. That is the kind of Kerala level communism that we followed. And what was the purpose of her coming back to the back on the 5th row and me sitting at the first point in the 6th row? Nothing, because this teacher was so strict. She used to get to the point straight away. She used to get into the point straight away, which means that she was constantly, if she took an hour and a half of a class, I think she took an hour long class, but let's just say if she took an hour and a half, of those 90 minutes, I think only 2 minutes were wasted. Rest 88 were completely utilized. We were constantly writing down things, and we were all trained there to write and make notes in a particular way so that it's easier to memorize, and there was a lot to memorize in biology. So constantly we were writing. So what was the purpose of her coming back? Because we are not even in the same row. She can't even see my face. There were only 2 things that we used to do. My left hand used to go ahead and hold her left hand, which did not happen that frequently, because when we talk specifically in technical terms, holding left hand was a lot of effort for her. And that much discomfort, obviously she was my girlfriend, I'm not going to give her that much discomfort. So that happened less. What happened more frequently was, and probably the only thing that used to happen and everyone knew around us, was that we were playing Footsie all the time. For those who don't know Footsie, it's basically my feet and her feet intertwined between each other so that it looks like somewhat of the Indian Medical Association's two snakes that wrap around that cross. I mean, that's the best way I can describe. So that's all that used to happen. We used to play Footsie, and for that she used to sit 5 rows behind, and the teacher also sometimes pointed out that you used to sit at the front. What happened? If she scored less on a test, you're losing your touch. And she went through all of that just because my stupidity could be validated. Just because I wanted to play Footsie with her for like 50 minutes. Which, if I think about it right now, is pretty annoying. I mean, how can you do the same stupid shit every alternate day for 50 minutes straight? And since this kept on happening, I used to think that it's very stupid of me that now I have not even thanked her once. Now you must be thinking, why should he thank her? The reason why I should thank her is because she never made me feel this stupid. She was very supportive. She really, was one of the smartest in my batch. I still, think about how someone that smart dated me. And now that she's a doctor, I'm very proud of her. She made a lot of sacrifices, and one of those sacrifices was me, which I've gone past of, because when I see that she's doing good in her life and it happened because of what went with us, it makes sense. I mean, you should think about this as well in that manner. And she took a drop year. I used to blame myself for that because obviously, how can a person clear a very competitive medical entrance when her boyfriend was stupidly obsessed with Footsie? I mean, Footsie? Really? So all I can say is just don't play Footsie that often. It's stupid, and not especially when you are in a class. Now I can attest this because I am a teacher now, and thankfully I'm taking online classes. But if in an offline class my students played Footsie, first thing first, I would know, because I've been there, man. Come on. So don't play Footsie, don't do stupid things, focus a little bit on studies because it's important. And I'm not saying that if you are going to a coaching class for your medical entrances does not mean that you'll end up in a medical college, or that it is what it is meant for you or something like that. As I said, we've all taken different paths from there, and years later we're just laughing about what the stupidity was. I hope you also laughed about a few things about this particular incident, because to me it is still a little funny that I was this stupid. So if you found this stupid, let me know. You know my Instagram handle. You can reach out to me through Anchor or any other way that you can find it, because I know almost all of my contact information is out there. So if you really want to talk about these stupidities and ask me if it's real, you can ask me. That will be all from my side for today. I'll be back soon, trying to be a little more frequent. Once again, thank you everyone for listening and being a part of this journey for the past couple of months, I guess 6 months now. So it's been wonderful. My analytics show that I'm reaching 10k soon, not on unique listeners but on plays. So that's going great. Thank you everyone. Thank you India Film Project and Anchor by Spotify for keeping up with me, keeping me motivated, and not letting me fall into the well of pod fade. So I'll be back soon, and I'll just say stay safe, stay healthy, and keep listening. Bye.